Hello and thanks for staying with us. The Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service has directed customs submissions throughout the country to release goods worth over 3 billion naira to Nigerians. Also on customs reports, Ogun State 1 Command seized goods worth 1 billion naira plus more reports. I am Egiseme Edie. Stay tuned. The Customs Area Controller in charge of Upper Command has made a seizure of 80 containers in the first quarter of this year. The seizure is worth 12.5 billion naira, almost the whole seizure made in 2019. The command also generated 110.2 billion the first quarter, with an increase of 15 billion naira. The Apapa Area Command of the Nigerian Customs Service has generated a total of 110.2 billion naira in the first quarter of 2020, an increase of 15.4 billion naira. The command also raised an import performance from a total of 51.601 metric tons, valued at $5.2 million, to $72.4 million, valued at 22.2 billion naira.
Because if you compare what was generated first quarter 2019 and what was generated 2020 first quarter, you discover that we have surpassed that one with about 15.4 billion. Despite the pandemic and the disruption of economic activities. And I will attribute that to the strategies we put in place and the hard work. That was what brought this achievement. Yes, we in the first quarter, that is January alone, we seized about 84 containers with a duty paid value of 11.5 billion, which is almost the total of our seizures in 2019, because the duty paid value of the seizures of 2019 was 12.5 billion. So there is possibility we are going to get more seizures this year than last year. Yes, they contain various items. We have drugs, we have used items like used clothing, we have tomato paste, we have rice and other items. The issue is I want to say that the CG always give us whatever we require in terms of encouragement, logistics, and he is ever ready to give any assistance in the course of discharging our duty. And that we make use of the system we have to do profiling, and it's through this profiling that we are able to generate more revenue. For example, you have a declaration where the declarant will declare something else, but because of our targeting and profiling using the country of origin and all that, we'll be able to detect before even physical examination that something is fishy. You cannot claim to import an item from China, for example. So in the process, we waited for the examination to take place and discover a different thing entirely. We are in need of revenue, the country needs revenue, so in that aspect there is no need for us to say we are seizing it, despite the fact that it's wrong declaration and it amounts to seizure according to laws. But because we want to generate revenue, we discovered that since the person decided to declare a different item entirely, he's trying to dodge, because the real content in the container happens to be wine. And you know wine has tax apart from the main duty, it has a levy. So he wants to dodge away from paying that levy. So instead of seizing it, we just issue a DN with penalty, and the levy is trying to dodge away from. So you see, through that we are able to generate revenue more to the government.
The custom boss also seized 80 containers valued at 12.5 billion naira, close to the entire seizures in 2019. The area controller assured stakeholders that in line with the President directive, ports remain open. On the palliative approved by the seizure of customs, he has this to say.
CG gave out about 14,000 cartons of tomato paste and 10,500 kg of 25-liter vegetable oil to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. And this is a continual process, is taking place in all the commands where seizures took place. If you observe, I think last week or two, the minister came herself to come and witness the handing over of those materials seized at the Federal Operations Unit. So likewise, in all other formations where those seizures are made, the CG gives out these materials as palliative to the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and later being distributed to citizens. And in the course of that, is the responsibility of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry to say, okay, so number of trucks of so is going to each state. Then they will just inform us, the respective command, and we hand over to them.
He called on importers to use this opportunity to evacuate their consignment from the port. The national president of ANACA, Tony Wabuneke Iju, has commended the customs for doing a good job at the port. He said that the government should provide more incentive to the service to enable the service to do more. The national boss says that customs submission who are working under the lockdown have done well in the area of collection of revenue for the government.
Opener for federal government of Nigeria, they will now begin to think about diversifying their way of having revenue generated apart from oil. I'll tell you that maritime should be the next after oil that will generate that type of revenue if we're harnessed. We're harnessed in the sense that if they increase the capacities and the welfare of the customs, if they begin to do the good things even to the freight forwarders and custom brokers, and know that the qualities and the effectual relationship we're supposed to have with the government when it comes to revenue generation, then they have to take everything that concerns maritime serious. They have to know that maritime can even sustain the country by way of revenue generation. So they need to know that maritime has come to stay to cushion the effect of the problems of petroleum downslope in the price. And again, I know that being given a very thorough backing back to customs and the custom brokers, we are going to generate that revenue. How do we do that? First of all, they know they have to do effective machineries of scanners in the port. They need to bring in scanners. They need to encourage the customs and the custom brokers. They need to give us all the incentives to work effectively and generate the money. The money is there to be generated, but they need to give a good incentive for those who are actually generating those revenue. Are the people who are generating the revenue. Customs are actually collecting and warehousing it for the government. And we actually taxing ourselves with the revenue generation through our power. What it means is that if, for example, my own company gets 1 or 2 billion naira revenue generation for 1 year, at least expectation is that they should give us that 1%. At least 1% of that total revenue generated. That will encourage us, one, to pay the actual duty. Secondly, to generate more revenue through welfareism. Then again, we need to do a kind of squab analysis and know the strength and the weaknesses of all the government agencies at the port. Know exactly those who are actually there for revenue generation and those who are not there for that should be giving us a chance to do the job normally with the customs. Then again, we need a situation where total insurance cover should be given to us because we are doing a government job and we should be covered with insurance.
So,
If, just like I told you, if well organized and well harnessed, the custom is very capable of raising very good revenue generation for the government through us that pays the duty. What it takes for us is to have a little encouragement by us, either through CRFF and Council for Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria, which we actually been under, or taking a decision otherwise that whoever has generated this particular amount of money in his own private entrepreneurship must be given a percentage. But I think holistically, if they want to do it clearly, they should use the Council for Regulation of Freight Forwarding in Nigeria to do that. Encourage us, encourage the customs, encourage the government agencies in the ports. We get that done. I will tell you that oil should be, in the next very few years, in a very low level. So we need to begin to think about agriculture, we begin to think about maritime, we begin to think about self-independence and generation. Even when we have lights, even private industrialization will spring up.
you are watching the program Customs Report. A retired controller of Nigerian Customs Service, a former customs PRO in Apapa and Tinkan Island Port Command, who is now a district head. The retired controller, Alhaji Usman Bello, has organized his community together to fight against the coronavirus in his local government.
Ketare district head is under Kankara local government area of Katsina State and has 9 village heads. The district head directed all village heads to integrate similar committee so as to engage them to continue mobilizing, enlightening and educating their people on the importance of washing hands with soap, using face mask and ensuring social distance.
To watch out for our people who are coming back to our district on the prone areas where this virus is manifested. Places like Lagos, like Abuja, Kaduna, and some other country.
Alhaji Usman Bello Kankara commended the effort of the state government for taking emergency measure on the spread of the COVID-19. He applauded the Emir of Katsina over his role in curtailing the dreaded disease. The state chairman Hassan Tukur Dan Ali said they were at the Ketare district head office to enlighten and educate the people on the dangers of COVID-19, which is spreading rapidly across the globe. Other speakers include the Director Health Kankara local government area, representative of Director Water Supply and Sanitation, and village heads of Ketare, who advised the people to comply with the medical directives so as to weather away and novel virus.
The Adamawa and Taraba State Customs Command has seized goods worth millions of naira from smugglers. He said that the seized foreign rice were stockpiled in residential apartments in the town in Adamawa State. The customs area controller said that the foreign rice was smuggled from neighboring Cameroon Republic. According to him, despite the lockdown by the government, some smugglers still engage in smuggling activities in the zone. He said that the unscrupulous elements who always make their ways to frustrate government effort will soon find their way into the prison. In spite of the lockdown, Ogun State Command has intercepted goods worth over 1 billion naira from smugglers operating in that border. The Customs Area Controller in charge of the command also said that these men are ready to implement government policies to the letter. He speaks more on a number of seizures. On the lockdown, several contraband items legally imported into the country through the unapproved routes were intercepted by customs in Ogun State Command. The Customs Area Controller said the customs accepted motor vehicles, motorbikes, foreign rice, petroleum products, vegetable and palm oil products.
Hand washing in view of the coronavirus pandemic, we are told to maintain good level of hygiene, constant washing of hands, and using sanitizer so that anything that must have touched our hands are cleared away in terms of the virus. The daredevil smugglers, they don't want to change. They felt that they would take advantage of the lockdown to smuggle their goods into the country. But we have told them that we have proved them wrong and we are equal to the task and we have made interceptions. These reports that I'll give you is to reflect on the first quarter of 2019 in comparison with our current year, 2020. In the year 2020, March 1st to 31st March, for instance, we seized 5,586 bags of rice, all 50 kg. They were seized at various points in the command, spanning the long and vast borderlines, stretching from Idukpetu, Ijofin, Idiroko, up to Imeko Ilara. But we have been there and we are equal to the task. I have my officers who are ready to go and who continue to do the job professionally the way it should be done. So I always tell smugglers, there is no space in this place. So generally, in 2020, we made total rice that we intercepted is 14,951 bags, all 50 kg. While in 2019, the corresponding period of 2019, we made 12,720 bags, all 50 kg. In terms of vehicles, 2020, we arrested 225 units, 225 units, while in 2019, in the corresponding period, we had 83 units. PMS, in 2019, there was no ban of petroleum products within 20 kilometers. But this year, we have got that, and that has accounted for the mass difference in the seizures we have made. We have seized between 1st January and 31st January, 293,015 liters of PMS in the command. While in 2019, what we had was 13,750 liters. That shows a difference of 279,000 liters, which is no mean feat. The total seizures made January to March 2020 is 607 seizures altogether. While in 2019, the corresponding period, we made a seizure of 226 seizures, with total DPV for 2020 as 1,177,161,384 naira. While the DPV, that is the duty paid value, for 2019 was 438,951,226 naira. This is a difference of 738,210,158 naira. That's the difference between our performance this year vis-a-vis that of last year. Even without being told, the difference is very clear to everybody that the performance is outstanding. And we want to assure the public that we'll continue to do so. Poultry product is not left out of this. In terms of poultry products, we have seized in 2019, there was none recorded in this period, 2019, but in 2020, we have seized 9,161 cartons of poultry products, and all have been destroyed according to extant law. So we have been working, and we assure the public will continue to work. In terms of revenue, the border has been closed. The excise now belongs to OGUN 2. But from the sale of petroleum products, we have realized between this January to March, end of March, we have realized almost 38 million naira as proceeds that has gone to government as revenue from the sale of petroleum products. We therefore want to use this opportunity to warn those who don't want to change, who don't want to repent, that we are waiting. There is no space for any smuggling in Ogun State. They should find elsewhere if they cannot change. And we call on them to be patriotic for once. You know what they do? The border lines in Ogun State are very porous. So this rice you see, they will use Okada, they will use even leg to carry them to a place. Then when they feel they have gathered enough, the vehicles will load them. At times, we do what is called controlled delivery. We monitor them. So on this fateful day, based on intelligence, the patrol was able to track these vehicles. There are 7 pathfinders and 2 Mazda, all filled with rice, as you can see, that the whole world are concerned about the global health, the challenge that has come, which has been declared as pandemic by the World Health Organization. Yet, we have desperados who are bent on their selfish motive, who still want to smuggle at all costs. If not, ideally, with this closed down and locked down, there should be no incidents of smuggling by now. But we still have them. But to show them that we are not relaxed, we wait for them and we arrest them. They cannot find escape route. We are more determined than ever before to ensure that these things are not allowed. The human beings who carry the rice might be infected. So if we allow them, they can infect others. So apart from making our seizures, by making it difficult for them to penetrate, we're equally blocking the spread of the virus.
You see that it's most worrisome is the conversion of pathfinder jeeps to a means of conveying smuggled rice and other contraband items into the country. He said the total number of seizures by his men is put at 607 within a few weeks.
On sighting the custom patrol, all they do is they carry the key of the vehicles and run away. They enter the bush. Well, we trade on the part of caution. Shooting and killing them is not a solution. So we deprive them of the rice and the means of conveyance, while we still do investigation in case we can apprehend anybody linked with them. So far, nobody has come to claim ownership. Even though the government has shut down the border and we are enforcing it, we will not tolerate anybody to engage in smuggling. We are at alert and we are alive to our duties. We will not allow anybody, no matter who they are, to continue the smuggling business. Smuggling must be suppressed to the barest minimum, and we are ready and waiting for them. In February, we gave 20,000 bags to IDP from this command. But right now, I think we have nothing less than 9,000 bags of rice to give to them, but we can only release it after NAFDAC certification.
He said that the total paid value of seized goods is put at over R1 billion. He noted that 2020 is globally surrounded with health and economic challenges, adding that smugglers should desist from smuggling activities in Ogun State's one command. Just before the end of this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where the Ogun State Command seized goods worth 1.1 billion naira from smugglers operating in that axis. For me, Egeseme Etinye, thanks for watching.